Wow, excellent, wonderful, congratulations. That's an almost impossible piece to play, I find. Wow, bravo, that's extraordinary. You have a big sound and play it well, and you understand the emotional nature of the piece. Really just a few things. I'd like to first say that you're a beautiful example of using your strength and weight and force naturally. Because, for example, the way you played the very last line with these heavy chords, there's lots of people who are so tied up because you understand very well the principle that I was talking about before. It's release, the sound. I mean, as I said, for example, if it's a boxer, you can't just hit to there, you have to follow through. And every time you have a big chord like this, because once again, I'm lecturing for just a second. No matter whether you believe that your strength comes from your back or from your fingertips or from your elbow or whatever theory or teacher you've had, no matter how hard you hit the piano, you only need 55 grams to keep the key down. Doesn't help to do that. And part of the reason we do it is because we want to sustain. It's our musical nature. And we even do it when we play soft. You know, we suffer sometimes. Because we feel it so intensely. But I mean, sometimes it looks very expressive, but it actually, this stupid box doesn't help at all. You actually have to get rid of the tension. You have to feel it inside. Whatever you like, with the curves of the melody or with the force. So once it's out of you, you can actually relax, even just like you did. And this gives your body time to recuperate. Also makes it easier for your ears to hear. It's interesting how when your body is too tight, you don't hear as well. Irma Volpam, one of my teachers who taught here, always said that as an energy system, we only have 100% of our energy at any one moment. And if we're unnecessarily holding tension or tightness, mostly unconsciously, then we really aren't free to move and listen as well. And of course, research and scientific studies have shown us that our ears do get tired. There are these little hairs inside of our ears. And at the end of the day, when we're tired and our ears are tired, they actually lie down to protect. That's why, I don't know, I mean, I know, for example, if I set my radio to wake me up in the morning, I always set the volume at night a little bit lower because it will sound louder in the morning because my ears will be less tired. But it's really funny but in any case, without getting too scientific, get rid, it's like a singer once again, not You can't choke yourself. You need to use your diaphragm and support, and we don't have diaphragms when we play, but it has to come out of us. Now, just a couple of general things to improve, I hope improve and make more effective. Just, you don't have to play so loud in this piece, believe it or not. Especially on a modern piano, you get so much resonance. There are times when you can actually take it easier. And as I was telling one of your colleagues, you have to scale the dynamics. Because, for example, I heard many times the great Spanish pianist Alicia de la Rocha, who was about that tall, and once we put ourselves together, because she always called me her giant, and once we compared not only hand sizes, but we noticed that when our middle fingers, the longest ones, that was her shoulder, and that was her elbow there. And yet, she had a big sound. She didn't make as much noise as I do, but she had a powerful sound because it was always balanced. That's another thing, like I was saying in the Brahms. If you play, as I said, if you play the right hand too loud and the left hand too soft, ow, help, So you get your real strength from that, but also balance in chords. It's horrible, but if you get them all, and you do, so I'm not criticizing you. You have it, but it's also a question of scaling. So I was just thinking in the last page where Chopin asks the impossible, because he always writes the most difficult music just when you're tired and your hand already hurts. So that's why I'm thinking about hopefully places where you can save strength a little bit. Now, just looking at this is of course easy. Three fortes at the end, that's no problem. That's actually, we're done. But two fortes here is, that's enough. So therefore this, keep doing that. Sorry. There, that one works better. So this is only one. So I think you were already at two.
Yeah.
And because I know the feeling very well, by this point you're a little tired and desperate, at least I am. And you're so, this is easy. Just that's enough. Just thinking in terms of the drama of the things. So actually practice saving. In other words, not, as I say, saving, as I said earlier, not because you want to be boring and just, safe. Just, you can have a lot of excitement softer too. And when you hear things, these modern pianists have so much resonance. For example, this crescendo, you, like everybody, and me too, got too loud too soon. Because once again, that's a rather easier place. Wow, look at me. Boy, can I play loud and fast. Well, it can be quite electrifying, and just make sure the crescendo goes all the way to there, and that's only one forte. So this is just practical advice, because it'll still sound pretty exciting, I promise you. I want to talk about the left hand in a minute, and these stupid jumps. Dramatically, when the piece comes to a pause, more or less in the middle, and you took time, which makes sense, I'm just wondering, I don't know if you should. My inclination was that it sounds too diddle-dum. It sounds like, the storm is down and now we know it's going to come back. But maybe, what? Rather than, that sounded a little bit lyric and friendly to me, but your intention was good. So once again, just think about it. But it should be a little, oh no. Here it comes. And also, this crescendo happened too soon too, I'm sorry to say. Because it's an easy one too. You've just had, my goodness, you've had 2 whole beats of rest, which you don't get much in this piece. And then this is easy too. So, here I go. Boy, am I powerful. But I would just, I mean, I can't play this piece at the moment, but just for that. Also, I would suggest some more varying the texture so that it's not always lots and lots of pedal. Something drier. I mean, this was wonderful, but maybe it might be nice to have some difference, because, and then that will be more lyric. Just some variation when you can. Also, he's sometimes writes, and I didn't notice this before. Maybe so that so it's ba-dum, bum, bum. So it's not marching quite so much. I'm not saying you're marching. You played it very, very well, but just to vary it a little bit. Now I'm just taking blah 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 blah. You did a perfect example. You didn't. It's the only way to make it really sound good. Okay, start again if you would, and I'll stop you. Not too much, because you don't need me very much. So we're just enjoying this. I'm enjoying how well you play it. Thank you. Just two question marks. Not so important in this piece, and not so important in Chopin, but to think about the length of the fermata. Even though there are not many notes so far, you established a rhythm already. Dum, ba-dum. And I was happy that you played more than 2 beats there. In fact, you played exactly 3. So already there's a pulse. Dum ba dum bum 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 bum. So even though you waited 3, it's still our internal heartbeat. Maybe, and this is more useful in Haydn and Beethoven, but maybe, not to count it out, but something irregular, so that we're counting inside. It's already inside where. So it's, rather than, oh, of course, okay? Next question, and this, I just thought, this is not interpretation. Maybe for the same reason, maybe without retard, and then just stop on the fermata. I don't know. And once again, this as soft as you can possibly manage. Some from somewhere outside the walls, if you can, if the piano will let you. This is just cheap theater, but it's good. So 2 ideas, and you don't have to do it, but just to really. So because the only trouble for me, and I was being very pedantic, is if you count, if I can count 3 beats, then it's like I'm still going, no surprises. But I think the idea is to give a little surprise, and in classical music, very useful to think about those things a lot. Okay. Don't worry. Great. You're a very accomplished pianist, and you set your mood and everything. What do you do during this fermata inside yourself? I mean, aside from getting ready.
Don't know. Waiting for the sound to fade out a little.
Yeah.
But not too much.
Yeah. And I think for dramatic purposes, now this is also theater, you don't do anything physically, but make a crescendo inside of yourself until you can't stand it anymore. Okay? I mean, I think it's just an idea for today. Just make, that's something, and somehow that will actually have an effect too. Believe it or not, even if you don't do anything, somehow those feelings travel very well. Okay? I mean, try it for me. I don't know that that's the answer, but. Good, excellent. The only problem is that this last one, ya-da-da-dum, doesn't speak. I think this has to be pretty hard and in tempo. This is not some. this is hard music, harsh music. So this has to be as very good. Let's hear the left hand there. Ya-da-da-dum. Yeah, it has to be very good, and play from maybe there, Dom, if you can. G sharp. Yeah, and more. Not so much the D with pedal. Yeah. You see, it's not quite as da-da-da-dum. here, you always have to give the public the impression that you know exactly what you're doing in a moment like this. You know, it's like, I know, and it sounds like that. So this has to sound just as wonderful. Of course, the problem is we're all worried about that, which you played very well. It's, how do you practice going up to that high note? Or do you just do it?
I think I practiced it.
Yeah. Anyway, in other words, I think the reason this doesn't sound so good is that you're actually rushing. Because you're talented, and talented people go faster when it's hard. I remember my teacher, Gornitzky at Juilliard, said whenever they had an entrance exam of kids, and at Juilliard you get some very talented kids, he said that the really talented ones go faster the more difficult the music is when they're young, and they make it more difficult for themselves, and they mess up. And they all know that's good. The fellow who slows down when it gets over, they say, impossible, no temperament. I mean, you can't do anything. So that's just a bit of old wisdom from the old school. But so you have temperament, and that's good. Temperament you can always control. If you don't have so much, it's not so good. So you work on that. But in terms of practicing, let me just excuse me. I miss it too. Actually, if you don't rush, you actually have enough time to get there quite safely. It's not even that far. It just feels horrible. It feels naked. Yeah, I guess make sure. So it's not. Maybe, I don't know. Make sure those sound quite well. Without rushing, but that you'll practice. I know you understand all that. So continue from there. Yeah, here's another spot, and I noticed it too. Because of this right hand is extremely uncomfortable in those bars, you actually got a little faster. Believe it or not. So you actually have a little bit more time than you think. I mean, I'm not talking about much time, but just don't lean it forward, okay? I mean, try it now and see if you can, but that's something also you have to work on. Okay, just from there. I was just thinking, this crescendo is important, and you did it. I wonder if it really means that you have to then play quite as loud as you do here. Because this phrase then has to grow a little bit organically. I mean, maybe, or just not quite as, working quite so hard once you get there, because I think maybe Chopin means, now I'm guessing, I'm being like a lawyer in a court, and maybe he just wants you to hear this. Which is, easily lost. And those are difficult too. I would recommend now. I do it all with the fifth finger. The reason I recommend 5-4-5 is, and I would play that almost. You can even. So you really, I don't know, because otherwise it sounds a little bit schwach, and it's so, or it sounds disorganized, or sounds like you're not sure of what you're doing, which nobody is really sure at this in this piece. But there you are. So that was good with the crescendo there. Some people get very lazy at the end of bar, whatever it is, 22. Good. Similarly, because believe it or not, you're making a lot of sound and you don't need more. Let me think. Let me just watch you play something else. Play from anywhere you feel comfortable. Some place you can start around here, anywhere, or even here, if it's okay. Okay. Thanks. I'm just thinking in terms of work, when you've practiced slowly and learned the piece very carefully, did you rotate your hand from side to side quite a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes that will allow it to relax for 1,000th of 1 second. But for example, so that you don't hold, as I've been saying in other things, and for example in the first etude, which we didn't get to today, but you know, everybody's worried about the big hand, but it's really a study in contraction. It helps to have a big hand, but you actually need to, you need to let your hand relax so that you can actually get to where you're going. Same thing in things like this. Even though it's easy to reach, you still don't want to be stuck in a position. So as because that stiffening will get you tired. You'll stiffen anyway and you'll get tired anyway, I promise you. Everybody does. It's. I'm also thinking that once this happens, I mean, I know you got a little, it wasn't quite right here. Once, you might have a lighter texture altogether because it's so scintillating and high. It's all like piccolos or something. So piccolos don't have to be triumphant. They scream anyway. So just it can be a little bit lighter, and this can just to give also for the ear of the listener, because you know, after a while it's, oh my goodness, this is. It actually it gives you, but you don't want to also give the impression that I'm getting tired and I have to play soft, because like that you can hear too. But good, this was all fine. Difficult piece. Yeah, very often when you have these big crescendos, see what I did? I took it back to about mezzo forte, but still strong, not weak, but. I shouldn't play this piece without practicing it. But so there, you know, things like that. That's how you can, just as in the ballade, you could alternate different textures. You can, it makes the ear more lively, so that you know, and it makes it a little bit more possible for you. I also had a theory once, which I never tried successfully, but is that maybe this bar 59 maybe shouldn't have a big crescendo. I don't know if I wonder, you know. I don't know. Maybe it just will sound ineffective, but it's one more thing.
Could be a good idea.
It could be one more thing, especially if you have if you have the nerve and strength. Oh, by the way, one of the dangers of making a big crescendo inside of yourself is if you get too excited. I heard a friend of mine at a competition once who got very excited and he just crashed, and he made a terrible mess there, which doesn't make you feel good for the next 4 minutes.
Yeah,
but still, that's what you need inside of you. Good. Let me think. It was very. Let me hear you just play from anywhere you like. I just want to listen a bit more. Maybe from there, and even there, just one forte is enough. Forte means strong. It doesn't mean, and there, you know, in certainly in the classical time, Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, you basically had fortissimo, forte, piano, pianissimo. They didn't have so much mezzo, forte, piano. I mean, they had it. They had all those things, but generally the distance between forte and piano was maybe not as incredible as now. But from forte to fortissimo is very dramatic, or vice versa. Beethoven even writes sometimes subito forte after a fortissimo passage. So in other words, it's not just a little bit less; it's actually strong, but not as much as you can give. And it was later that it was, even in Chopin you don't have much mezzo piano, mezzo forte. That's more or less later. I mean, more or less our standard is 6 degrees now, with fortissimo and pianissimo, or in Tchaikovsky 5 times.
Yeah,
But you know, that just means an extreme. So I'm just trying to give you advice where you can be strong and very brilliant and effective, but still save your voice a little bit, like here, for example. You know, so it's very brilliant, but not. Lovely. If you like, good. Good, almost fantastic. Great, you did a very good example. I mean, of course, you played exactly in time, which is right, but you played it in time with the right feeling. What I was saying earlier about there's a right moment for something to happen. And you did that. I mean, it's not easy to explain, but it's good to point out because it's excellent. What was only not fantastic, whatever you did here, the timing was absolutely right. Only this wasn't just, I mean, you set the level high, so of course I want that to be great too. So let me try, you know it. Good. Terrific. I just think that maybe here, you don't, in bar 80, you don't need to get it louder at all because it's one of the few really human moments in the piece with the harmony. If you don't slow down, but there's something human about it. This piece is not often so human. Playing the wrong octaves, but you know, and then it's going to really. This is all very human because now it really starts to scream. Mm-hmm. I mean, the piece screams a lot, but now there's a human in the middle of this horrible storm screaming. So, I would make these as like sustained brass, but very, very hard. You did very well at the beginning. Really not soften the texture at all of those. So see if that I don't see what it sounds like. Good. I mean, I know you don't do it, and I'm sure it's on purpose. There is that nice diminuendo there, which you could do. Really, just let it boil down, and then once again a sort of attack. Mm-hmm. And with the left hand, probably on a modern piano, you need something like that to do with a loose wrist. Otherwise, your fingers are going to go crazy. Now, this I'm not convinced about, the very end. You know that you can't really play a scale here. It has to sound like this. I mean, that would be nice. But in practicing that, I don't know if you've done it. We have that, whatever finger you use, but you almost have to throw it, as if, something like that, only you have to play the right notes at the same time. Yeah. So, and I would try, I don't know about the accent on the first note, possibly, but that was an approximation, but I would leave the pedal down and then just take it off at the end, rather than, because but just, I mean, even if you don't play, you know the Scriabin Fifth Sonata? You know how it ends? It doesn't really end, it just takes off. And this piece is more or less like that. So you have to practice this a lot and be very brave. And even if you don't play all the right notes, just, I mean, it's like somebody just ripping, to use a metaphor, just ripping the keys out. So, I mean, you have to do something, but because it shouldn't sound like a good scale. Somehow it has to. Now I don't know how to do that, but good luck. Hey, excellent. I'm worn out, but you did marvelously well, and you can play this piece. Wonderful, wonderful. I actually can when I practice it, but this is that's a difficult piece. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you all for staying for all of this. Does anybody have any questions or complaints or and want to take exception to all of my enthusiastic comments?
Only one request.
What's that?
Come more often.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, yes, I have to come more often than I've been coming. Yes. Thank you. Thanks.